Good morning, everybody. I actually got a teaching video that's going to go up, John Paul Sartre. So I've been doing a little more writing on the posts. Oh, my camera looks funny. I don't know why. It's been downloading stuff, and I've been trying to get it to stop downloading. It's been downloading, updates, and I'm trying to cancel them, but like a day and a half now. My light's going out. I want to do a little bit on, this is just not a teaching video. You might think you had that other video of that girl in class, the black girl in class, getting pulled over. What is the guy's name? Fields or something? Cop. He said, "Oh, I wonder why John didn't post that and wasn't doing his rage." I got up, the other morning I got up at 11:30. You mean in the afternoon? No, at night. And I laid down and said, "Oh, I better wait till midnight before I get up, because the next day doesn't start till midnight." And I think, well, as long as I could sleep before the next day begins. But today I got up, and I was up for about 3 hours already, praying. But yes, most of it I was in a rage. Various issues. And I pray. I want to give a few updates that I didn't do on the teaching video. The other day I had my phone off, and I figured, let me pray. So I did my writing. I said, let me see who I should see today. And I felt like the Lord said, go see your friend David, John David. So I kind of divide my time. When I'm with David, I do like pastor ministry, really. I sit and listen, and I pray for David. And that's kind of what I do with Pops. And that's different, like just visiting and helping people. But when I got to the house, I knocked on the door, and I'm sure David, they don't, they look through the peephole. I thought, oh, maybe he's sleeping. It was about 11:30 in the afternoon. Then I heard him tell Jackie, "Oh, it's John, it's Preacher John." So David told me, he said, "Oh, I called you, John, and I left a message, and I might have got the wrong number." I said, "No, my phone was off." I said, "I didn't even get it." And he had called me just right before I came, and he was going to invite me over. I said, "Oh, I guess God wanted me to come over." But then when I left, I went to one of the gas stations. And I stop at the ones that, have a lot of homeless guys. That don't bother me. Those are my guys. But sometimes if I'm in a rush and I stop at one of those, I do talk to these guys hanging out in front of stores in bad areas of town. But I'm in a rush, so I thought, oh, I don't have time. I'm kind of on my way to the other side of town. And sure enough, some kid followed me in the store. He was a white kid, but he was outside with a few other kids. And you could see, like, even the way he followed me, I thought, not that anything bad, but I thought, oh, people would be scared to see, because he was like, and I figured they were going to bum maybe a cigarette or something. But I'm just like those guys. So whenever he came in, he was like behind me a little, and, "Hey, what's up, brother?" And he could see, like, maybe he thought I was on the street guy. So he saw I bought cigarettes. And we're talking a little bit. And then I go out to the car, and his friends are like around the corner. They were Mexican guys. And all they wanted was to bum 2 cigarettes. And so I was nice to the kid. So I got in the car. He says, can I have 2 cigarettes? I said, "I'll give you one, brother." So I gave him one. I told him, "Man, I talked to you." I said, "I do ministry, I work." And he wanted to talk. And he had a background in the type of Christianity that we're familiar with. I'm familiar with it. Sometimes you refer to it as the sacred name movement. There's a lot of different movements that go on in Christianity, and this is one of them. So when he knew I did ministry, I said, "Man, I work with you guys all the time, brother." I said, "I'd hang with you, but I'm in a rush." He could see I was serious. He wanted to talk about God. He didn't care about the cigarettes at that point, because he started talking to me. And finally, the Mexican gang kids came around, like, mad at him. Like, "Where's the cigarettes?" And he gave them the one. He just wanted to talk. And I knew he had a background in it because then he was asking, when I told him I do ministry, I teach a lot, he had questions. What's the name of God in the Old Testament? And I said, well, you do have Jehovah, as it's an English translation, but Yahweh is technically, yes, the name of God in the Old Testament, Yahweh. So he knew. He said, and what's the name of Jesus? He must have had some past in this sacred name movement, which focuses on the name of God, Yahweh, which is nothing wrong with that. And he asked me, what's the name of Jesus then? And I know it. I said, it's Yahshua. Yahshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. So he saw I had, and he wanted to talk. And and John, what did he want to talk of? God. He said, man, I just got out. I did 10 years. My girlfriend's out, but we're off. We're not doing meth right now or crack. He just wanted to talk. Couldn't care about the cigarettes at that point, the money. Just wanted to talk. And I hung with him a little bit. I said, brother, normally I spend a lot of time talking to you guys. I said, but today I can't. Oh, I got to show you my carnival. I'll do that in a second. So the incident with the girl that went viral video, the girl was in class, a black girl, and she must have used her phone to text something in class. You're not allowed to use the phone in class. So the teacher said, give me your phone. The girl said, why? I did nothing wrong. I think she's a 16-year-old black girl. And these types of incidents would be, disciplinary. How would you have dealt with it, John? If the girl didn't want to give up the phone and say, you know what, there's things called forgiveness, but for just putting that aside, let us sit in the class, finish your teaching. At the end of the day, you're suspended for 1 week. You're in detention for, But instead, she calls the cop. I think his name's Fields. And they try to justify this. And the cop comes in, and I'm sure I'll post the video when I post this. And so he grabs her from behind, throws the seat down, drags her through, unjustified. And they try to, after it came out, that sheriff or whoever that criminal organization is, said, well, she's just got rug burns. These kids are in class. The level of violence that you use to arrest people has to do with actual crimes. It's actually not a crime to text or to use your phone. That's a violation of school policy. And you raise the level now of justifying whether the use of force. And there was another black girl who took a picture. They arrested her. So you want part of this? She said, no, sir. The one who took the video of it. So that family and those kids will be on notice. They will go after them. The family of Eric Garner in New York City, Miss Great, Wonderful New York PD. When the person videotaped the murder of Eric Garner, they drive by that family's house, the one who did that videotape. Women and children, and they flash lights in that house. Do you know the psychological impact to have cops on the street putting that family on notice that we're going to go after you, your kids? It's never done. And not that we're going to watch. That's what they do. So they try to justify that cop Fields, 300-pound muscle guy, whatever the other girl said. They arrested the girl that took the video too. They tried to justify it. She only got rug burns. You damaged that girl's psyche for life. You fed into every one of the stereotypes that police say, these are unfair stereotypes. You feed into it with your abusive actions is what you do. So that guy should be fired. And immediately they try to justify. I don't know what they did with him. But of course I was upset. I'll post that video along with this. This is not a teaching video. How long am I going? 9 minutes? Oh, I got to show you my carnival. I built something else out of my granite, just like little steps. just little steps. Stand up on them like I wrote a verse on the side. We look for a city that has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. We're not building things down here. Okay. I like carnivals, as you know, so I started messing around, and I made a little, check out my carnival. See all my stuff? Okay, being it's Christmas, Lowe's and Home Depot and all are putting those things out. I just want to do this video as just a little update. So you know, yes, John was upset when he saw that viral video of that girl. And I'm giving you solutions. The solutions are when you're in a classroom and you're dealing many of these motor vehicle stops and all that result in the shootings of people. The kid that I posted that video, he flashed the high beams at the cop, and that vehicle that the cop was driving, it was a new cop vehicle, a bigger vehicle unit, kept flashing ahead. It seemed like the high beams were on because other people also flashed their beams at that officer, and every time he would stop those vehicles. And so in that case, you took something that was absolutely no criminal act, but after the altercation, after that officer also in that video from the police unit showed you that officer grabbing that kid's cell phone because the kid said, "I'm going to video this." And we hear him saying it because the cop vehicle recorded it. And he grabbed that kid's phone and threw it, which is against the law. You're allowed to videotape. And then he shot that kid 7 times, 8 times in the back. So when these incidents are later looked at, and the heads of these departments, whether they're sheriffs, DPS, whoever, they're looking for justification. Well, the officer was justified in throwing the girl on the floor because she resisted his orders or whatever. What you have to do when you judge these scenarios, you have to understand you're not talking about criminals that were engaged in, you're talking about incidents that are being instigated because of the high beams on a cop vehicle that keeps blinding people. You're talking about a girl who did something that the teacher said, "You got to give me your cell phone," which is not a crime, might be a violation of school policy. So then after you see the altercation occur, whether it's the murder of a person or what you did to that girl, you don't then look at, well, the cop was justified. You look at, these are non-criminal things that are leading to either the abuse of black children or the murder of people. That's what you look at. And if you can't make that, if you can't distinguish that, then the solution is we have to disband these civilian departments. You've heard me say that. The solution is these guys can't be running around like this anymore. They can't be on the streets going after the other people videotaped these incidents. Then those cops are still on the loose, harassing those families, women and children, shining lights in that family. They're out and you can't stop them. There need to be consequences for these officers. Oftentimes, the actual murders for many years in these cases, before they had the videos, they got away with them. When you saw I saw a retape of, there's like a rap video made with all the collection, a montage of all the cop shootings and all. I was watching on the news because it was Democracy Now!, which is a liberal station, but I watch all the news. And it had that Officer Slager on the little rap video. The killing of that guy he shot. immediately after he shot him. So that was the video of Slager killing that black man. And when he walked up to him, right, murdered him without any conscience. Just nonchalantly walked up, dropped his taser on the ground. Immediately in his mind, he was going to justify the murder of that man by saying he had my taser. It took him 1 second to devise that criminal scheme in his mind while wearing the uniform. It takes him no time at all to devise. The cop that shot that kid because he flashed the headlights, that cop said, why did he write in the report, I think he was trying to contact militia forces on his phone to come and kill me. He wrote that in the report, that cop, that the kid might have been contacting militia, calling in ISIS. Why did he do it? Because he grabbed that kid's phone illegally and threw it. And he knew it was going to be on his cop video. See how quick their minds can operate? So what we need is, we need outside agencies, federal agencies to come in. Because these local agencies, chiefs and all, they're all, the local prosecutors, they're all in as friends. They all collude and work with one another. And even if they don't justify the criminal activity of an officer, they might know the family, the father, the judge, well, my son, who's a cop here, we know he's illegal and he does all these things. And the prosecutor might say, well, look, he's been beating people up and planting evidence for 20 years now. Well, we promise we'll have a talk with him. So the crimes do not. That's why you had an uprising saying, in all these cases of the blacks being killed all these years, they're saying the prosecutors are working hand in hand. And that's correct. That's why they're trying to get these, they don't bring these cases to grand juries because the prosecutors often know the families of the cops, their friends, they grew up. So you need federal authorities in all these cases. It needs to become law that federal authorities come in all these cases that are questionable, murders, this girl in the class, all of them have to be investigated by outside agencies. Because the first response after the video went viral, or the first response before it went viral, was the officer did nothing wrong, and the girl just suffered from some rug burns. The psychological effect on that girl, you saw those other black kids in that class when the girl's videotaping that cop. They're just sitting there, heads forward, looking, knowing fear is instilled in those kids. Those kids are in class. They're not out doing a drug deal. They're in class. That's what you judge. You do righteous judgment. You don't then look whether that 300-pound muscle-bound Fields was justified in throwing that girl around like a rag doll. There's no justification for that. You don't judge whether you fire him. I would suggest you put him in prison. All right. Oh, I guess I'll bless you guys. The teaching video is going to come up in a little while, the actual. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. God bless everybody.